But let's focus on something called the ZEV mandate, zero emission vehicle mandate, the growing tension between the automotive industry and the UK government's net zero carbon dioxide targets. Essentially, car manufacturers are having to ration petrol and hybrid and diesel cars because they get fined if they don't achieve a certain percentage of electric vehicle sales. They get fined. Did you know that? Joining me to discuss the fallout from this latest push, started by the Tories, I have to say, is Andrew Montford from Net Zero Watch. Andrew, let's get straight to it. What is the ZEV mandate and why does it exist? I thought the Tories had told us they were going to roll back, reduce the pressure on going electric.
Yeah. So the zero emission vehicle mandate is essentially manufacturers get fined if they sell too many petrol and diesel cars, and the money is then passed on to EV manufacturers. So manufacturers have quite sensibly reacted to this by restricting the number of petrol and diesel cars they sell, which is, it's utter madness. I mean, I assume that people will eventually find ways around this. I'm talking about consumers here. I mean, will people start importing cars from places where the mandate doesn't imply? I have a friend who has a Japanese import car. They drive on the left. So the steering wheel's on the right side of the car, and he says it's absolutely magnificent. Is that going to be the way forward? We'll all have our sat navs in Japanese. I don't know, but yeah, we're getting onto, it's getting quite serious. There are stories coming in from all over Europe about how motor manufacturers are in trouble. I mean, I don't know whether you saw the story yesterday that Volkswagen are thinking of closing factories in Germany. I mean, this is utterly extraordinary. But extraordinary, but completely predictable. The governments across Europe have been hammering away at electricity prices. Electricity prices have soared. Manufacturers have suffered. And yeah, I mean, the obvious thing for them to do is to shut up shop and move somewhere where, they have sane industrial policies.
What's the point in building diesel and petrol cars suitable for the UK right-hand drive if you can't sell them here? Why make them here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, you get onto these questions of, have they actually thought this through? Out here in the countryside, I live in rural Scotland. The idea of using an EV is utterly ridiculous. I mean, you kind of have to use petrol and diesel out here, but they're going to do away with them anyway. I mean, I'm not the first person to say it, but there are too many people in positions of power who have got the climate religion, and it is completely religious, and they operate without any sense of the harm that they might be causing to other people. This is an article of faith for them, that you've got to do these kind of things, and everybody's suffering as a result. I mean, pensioners know all about it now, don't they?
So essentially, the way this mandate works, the manufacturers are fined. It is like a fine, taxed, if they sell too many petrol and diesel vehicles.
Fine as well. I mean, it's thousands of pounds for every vehicle that they sell over the limit. And of course, the limit is reduces every year. So either the manufacturers have to hugely increase prices for petrol and diesel cars, and eventually, as we've seen, they actually just have to ration them, because people genuinely don't want EVs. EVs are fine for a toy, second vehicle for somebody, for a rich urban dweller, run to and from the supermarket. That's fine. But for people who have one car and who need to do long journeys, they're a non-starter. So this is hammering people who are perhaps have less money to spare. And the wealthy can manage. Yeah, they can afford this second, toy car. But Mr. Miliband doesn't care, does he?
I got an electric bicycle, which is a lot of fun for 1 or 2 miles. I used it yesterday, in fact. But it's for 1 or 2 miles when it's dry and
absolutely.
warm.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who has an electric bicycle, and yeah, he swears by it. But you know, it's a toy. It's not a serious vehicle.
The underlying issue here, of course, is that we've got Ed Miliband. We've got to handle the climate crisis. We're going to do that. And the fact is, there isn't one. I know we've discussed this before. But even if there was, electric vehicles don't solve the problem. So leaving aside my unshakable skepticism about this claim that human beings are wrecking the climate, even if there was, an electric vehicle generates more carbon dioxide in its manufacture than a petrol diesel car. And unless you do something like 100,000 kilometers in it, you never pay the carbon dioxide back.
Yeah, absolutely. And the costs are so enormous. You know, the costs of net zero as a whole are so enormous that it's worse than anything that the scientists have even suggested might happen as a result of global warming anyway. So, you know, we're making things worse than even the scientists suggest that global warming is going to be. So, you know, it really is that bad and, you know, that crazy. You know, it's bonkers that, you know, here we are, what is it, 20 years into the climate crisis? I mean, it's 15 since the Climate Change Act. We still don't have a cost-benefit analysis of the decarbonisation program that's worth the mention. You know, we have what are essentially, you know, fake, you know, numbers coming out of Whitehall, and that's it. You know, nobody has actually done this seriously yet. But, you know, I have. You know, we're going to publish a paper in the next month or two about the cost of net zero, and it is scary just how much more expensive net zero is than global warming. I mean, it's not even close. So this is how serious this is going to be for us. This is why industries are closing down. I mean, you look around the UK. We've lost our aluminium industry. We've lost our steel industry. They're about to shut down the oil refinery at Grangemouth. You know, how much longer does Mr. Miliband think that we can carry on like this for? How much industry does he think we can afford to lose? Because we're not getting very many jobs back on the green front, if you like. The green jobs are pretty much non-existent. So, you know, I mean, a few people to maintain the wind farms, and that's about it. You know, them wind farms aren't manufactured in the UK. They're manufactured, you know, in the Middle East and in the Far East. Same for solar panels. The solar panels are all made by slaves in China. So where are these green jobs coming from? So we are going to get into serious economic difficulty, and you know, in the next few years.
To misquote Bob Dylan and Ed Miliband, our economy, my friend, is blowing in the wind, and it is. And I don't take him seriously, sadly, because he doesn't even understand the science. Looking forward to that report. You're definitely going to get a fair wind to share that when it comes out. Andrew Montford, thanks very much. That's Net Zero Watch. Have your say. Coming up